To our today's resource person, Professor Zeba Nisar ma'am. Ma'am is currently working as Dean at Department of Architecture, Interior University, Lucknow, and having a teaching experience of more than 70 years. She is totally committed to research, writing, and administrative work. She was appointed as paper setter, viva voce, and practical examiner for various subjects at the Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, and Aligarh Muslim University, Lucknow College of Architecture, etc. She is a member of various organizations such as Council of Architecture India and Associate of the Institute of Architecture India, etc., and member of editorial board of Interior University. She has organized many seminars, conferences, workshops, etc. She has also delivered lecture as a resource person in different institutions of national and international repute. She has also participated and presented papers in the more than 30 seminars, conferences, workshops, collegium, etc. Ma'am has successfully completed numerous projects of Government of India and other bodies. Now, I would like to invite Ma'am to enlighten us with your valuable and thought-provoking lecture. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, over
Thank
to
you,
you,
ma'am,
ma'am.
for such a nice. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for such a nice introduction. A very warm good morning to all the participants. Today we have gathered here to discuss about the sustainable development and the climate change, which is the most fervently discussed issue globally. So, the most overwhelming urgent crisis facing mankind today is the degradation of natural environment and the concomitant problems of global warming and climate change. Virtually, other such problems such as overpopulation, hunger, inequality, and increasing natural disasters are closely related to it and are subordinate to it. So, the survival of civilized human life depends on us by changing our ways of consuming available natural resources on Earth in a gentle manner. Over the past decade, sustainable development has emerged as the favored way of responding to the current global environment. So, let's start exploring what environment is and how we can go for sustainable development by shifting our way of expand using the natural resources. I hope my screen is visible, ma'am. So I'll start with my presentation. First of all, it's what is environment. What is environment is basically the environment is the surrounding in which an organization operates. It includes air, water, land, natural resources, flora, fauna, humans and their interaction. Everything which is surrounding us as a human, it's environment. So environment again is of two kind. One is natural environment and the other is built environment. As you can see in the picture, the natural environment means all non-living and living things, they are occurring naturally on earth and they don't have any influence of the humans on it. That is called as natural environment. If you go to the forest, if you look at the river, that is all natural environment. Now coming on to built environment is influenced by the activities of humans and we can call it as the environment which is created by human beings. That could be cities, that could be towns, that could be villages, everything which has an influence of human being, that is called as built environment. Now coming on to environmental impact. Environmental impact is a change to the environment, either adverse or beneficial, wholly or partially resulting from an organization's activities, products, or services. What is happening is like natural resources are available there on earth. We humans are using those raw materials and the energy available, and then we are transforming them into products. While transforming them to products, the pollution is there, the waste materials are generated. While operating those products, then also we are consuming a lot of energy. So these are the adverse environmental impacts which we are facing. which is causing the global warming, which is leading to deforestation, as these are the words which you must be hearing almost every day. Now, the changing role of human activity has played an important role in environmental degradation. So, what are the factors which are related to this? Are one is human population growth. As the human population grew and tools became more advanced, the impact a single human could have on surroundings, it increased manifold. Then the second one is environmental modifications. In order to accommodate a growing population of humans, a lot of changes has been done in the environment. A lot of available green space has been converted into cities. So this is again one of the thing. Nearly all Earth's surface has been affected in some way by the human activity. So in these pictures, it is very clear. It is also, it has been showcased in many movies also, that the earth, which is the only living space for human being, is being polluted by the human activity. So we have to transform our activity models into certain sustainable ways in order to stop this pollution. Then coming on to human developments, the overexploitation and the pollution have started affecting the environment negatively over the last few centuries, and various diseases, the soaring temperatures, and these are the repercussions of these human developments which have been conducted without applying brains. So some of the uh, aspects and impacts which is there of the human activity is, we are using transports. These transportation vehicles, they emit gases, and these gases, they results in air pollution. So then we do have water leakages, which results in depletion of water resources. Then the spilling of fuels occurs, which contaminates our storm water. Then the noises which are coming up from the transportations and the industries, they are causing hearing and sleep impairedness in human beings. So some of the global environmental problems which comes up is the number one is the increasing temperature of the earth, which is global warming, which is leading to the melting of glaciers. Similarly, ozone layer depletion, then the acid rain, deforestation, water pollution, waste disposal sites, rapid population growth, food and water shortage. So these are some of the global environmental problems which are occurring. This is one of the map which was published in Hindustan Times 3 months back. Herein you can see how the heat generation could be seen. The part which is marked with maroon, that was the hottest region in the month of March, which was considered 5 years back. March was considered as a relatively cooler month. But herein you can see most of the part of the country has witnessed temperature nearly about 45, 47, 48. So this is the map showing how the temperature has increased with the passage of decades, and the result is the human activities. So now we need to understand the importance of environment, because it will help us in enlightening us or the population how we can protect and conserve in our environment. The environmental issues, they should be brought to the international importance level, so that certain methodologies could be devised. Then explosive increase in pollution, that needs to be stopped. We need an alternative solution for that. We need to save humanity from extinction. We need to go for wise planning and development. So here comes that we should understand what green technology is. So when we talk about green technology, there are certain keywords which comes into our mind. First is we go for sustainability. Sustainability means that we need to meet the present need of society without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. That means we have to sustain the environment. We have to sustain the available natural resources. Then cradle to cradle design, ending the cradle to grave cycle of manufactured products by creating products that can be fully reclaimed or reused. So we have to go for recyclable materials. Then the source reduction, reducing waste and pollution by changing patterns of production and consumption. So we have to reduce it. Then we should go for innovation. We should have to develop alternatives to technologies, whether fossil fuel or chemical intensive agriculture, that have been demonstrated to damage health and the environment. Then the viability, creating a center of economic activity around technologies and products that benefits the environment, speeding their implementation, and creating new careers that truly protect the planet. So all of these somehow points towards sustainable development, and it is the only solution which comes in front of us, that we should somehow go for the concept of sustainability. So herein, the environmental degradation, how it came into being, how it was assessed, how it was projected. So this will be this part will be covering the introduction of the sustainability parameters. So environmental degradation, it became an issue in those locales where citizens suffered the unintended consequences of modern industrial development. So the industrial revolutions has been considered as one of the reason why environmental degradation has occurred, irrespective of the fact that that industrial revolution has supported the humans in a better way. So I'll go through the events which occurred, which led to the awakening that, okay, the environment is being depleted. We need to reconsider our ways of using resources. We need to consider the way how we are living, how we are spending energy. So it was in the 1960, wherein a book named Silent Spring was published at first in 1962, wherein the effects of pesticide pollution was discussed. And due to the awareness created by this book, the ban on the DDT use in United States came to happen in 1972. So this was the contribution of this book. Now, in 1965, there was another book which was published. The name was Unsafe at Any Speed. So, the focus of this book was automobile pollution and the safety and the auto industry's reluctance to improve both. So the contribution of this was the Clean Air Act and the National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act were established. Many of today's auto pollution and safety features, including emission reduction, catalytic converter, seat belts, and airbags, are the result of this. So this was the awakening alarm which was ringed in 1960. The response to it was in this form. In 1970, the USA government responded to it. Some of the alarming environmental events were the Arab oil embargo, which is called as the oil crisis of 1970s, the Ford Pinto recall, the 3 Mile Island, the Love Canal, and all of them caused the passing of the National Environmental Policy Act in 1970. So this was the contribution or the response to the 1960s awakening. So in this slide, you can see the timeline of events and actions which occurred and which forced us to move towards sustainable development. The parts which are marked in orange are the environmental events which started uh, after the awakening period. So in blue, the actions and responses which I have already discussed are listed down right from the publication of the book of 1962, Silent Spring, and how the different acts and different things were discussed at the global level. So all of these things, they finally led us to the concept of sustainable development. In 1987, the Brundtland Commission was held, which was the chairperson of the commission was Miss Gro Harlem Brundtland. So here the concept of sustainable development was discussed, and the definition of the sustainable development which was portrayed by this commission is the development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. The aspects pointed out in this context were increased energy consumption, architecture not adapted to local climatic circumstances, and the buildings. They contribute to serious environmental problems, which encompasses excessive consumption of energy and other natural resources during their complete life cycle. In 2010, the report, which was published by Intergovernment Panel for Climate Change, they have projected that that globally we will be emitting 3,800 megatons of carbon, and the global energy use, which was 32 in 2010, will be increased to 38 in 2015. So this is the scenario which we are going to face. Now, coming on to the pillars of sustainable development, there are three main pillars of sustainable development. One is environment, then we have social, and the third one is economic growth. So, starting with the environmental protection, as I have told you, environment is very important for us, and we need to prevent nature from being used as an inexhaustible source of resources and ensure its protection and rational use. Then the second parameter of its, or the second pillar, is social progress. Social progress means to foster the development of people, communities, and culture to help achieve reasonable and fairly distributed quality of life, healthcare, and education across the globe. So it is to concern about the people. Environmental protection, it deals with the environment. You have to save the earth planet. Social progress, we have to look about the humans. And the third one is economic growth, which says that it should focus on equal economic growth that generates wealth for all without harming the environment. So, if we achieve social and economic sustainability, the environment becomes equitable. If we go for social plus environment sustainability, the environment or the whole surrounding, it becomes bearable. If we achieve economic and environmental sustainability, then the whole environment becomes viable. So these are the pillars which we need to take into care of. Then the indicators of sustainable development, which relates to social pillar, are party, governance, health, education, and demographics. The environment part is natural hazards, atmosphere, land, ocean, seas, and coast, fresh water, biodiversity. We have to save all them and we have to use them in a proper way. And the economic pillar, it embraces economic development, global economic partnership, and the consumption and production of and the consumption and production patterns. So the UN has projected certain sustainable development goals, which are 17 in numbers, and they are called as global goals, which have a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So basically, the three pillars of sustainable development are being addressed here. And for this, they have collection of 17 global goals, which has been set by the United Nations Development Program, which aims at transferring our world the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So these are the 17 goals which have been projected. Out of this goal, the 11th goal is related to sustainable cities and communities. So, this is the thing which I'll be talking about in context of India. So, the subtopic is inclusive and sustainable urbanization in India. By 2030, if you look onto the graph, you will find out by 2030, 68 cities will have population of 1 million plus, up from 42 today. Europe has 35 today. United Nations has introduced 17 SDGs and 169 targets to build a world which is a more secure, equal, and prosperous world by the year 2030. 193 members of UN General Assembly adopted these. The 11th goal is sustainable cities and communities, and one of the target is inclusive and sustainable urbanization. The rapid growth of cities coupled with the increasing migration from rural to urban area has led to the boom in the cities. So these are the projections which you can see how the population is going to increase, how this how this population, the rural population, it will migrate to the urban areas, and what are the issues which will be which the cities will be facing at large. So these are the facts at a glance. By 2030, India will have 7 mega cities with population over 10 million. Of this, 95% of households own a house, but only 33% own a TV set. However, in India, owning a house in India does not mean unambiguous opulence. Then, 17% of urban population lives in slums. More than 40% of households have just one room or no exclusive room in their houses. Buildings, they account for the consumption of one third of the global raw materials, energy, and water. Then the 31% live in urban area. Average household size in India being 4.9 for the 2011 census. This implies that 40% of households, five people have to share a room in the name of a house. So this is the scenario, Indian scenario, which I'm talking about. Buildings, they contribute to about 30% percent of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Then 13% of urban households don't have sanitary toilets. It is estimated that in 2021, electricity consumption due to space cooling and heating appliances will grow by 180% compared to 2011 levels. So you can see how the demand for energy is going to increase, the demand for the electricity is going to increase. What is the housing situation which is there in India right now? So now we will see what the public policies are there, what government is working in this context. So the systematic reforms, strong states, and long-term policy and finance are needed to enable access to adequate housing for all. Housing and slum upgrading policies should be accompanied by national strategies with a detailed plan of action, time frame, and available resources to implement. Affordable housing has been granted the infrastructure status in the Union Budget 2017-18, which will provide the reduced cost of borrowing for real estate developers, incentives for more private players. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, wherein the affordable rental housing complexes are created, which are being offered to the which are being offered to the homeless people. Then we have Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation for shaping our cities. Then we have Smart Cities Mission. Then we have Interim Budget 2019, which will be a relief to taxpayers with income up to rupees 6.5 lakhs, tax exemption on all affordable housing projects registered up to 2020. Irrespective from this, the other initiatives which are being taken care of are the principles of green and sustainability should look into careful handling of waste, minimal usage of energy and water, outbreak of epidemics. For this, IGBC, Griha, B, all of these are the bodies which are working towards the green affordable housing rating. So the benefits of going green is reduction in energy and water consumption, improved health and hygiene of the accommodators, the better sanitation facilities for the people, better ventilation and light in the dwellings. Then IGBC Green Affordable Housing Rating System addresses green features under the following categories. One is the site of the project, then second is the energy conservation, and the third is the environment, indoor environment quality. So the focus of everything is towards protecting the environment, creating livable environment for the human beings and the rest of the things. So this is the initiative which is being taken up. Now, climate change mitigation plan has been adopted by the government of India in the form of national action plan on climate change. It was adopted in 30th June 2008, and India was the first country to release such a plan and to combat the impacts on climate change. It focuses on 8 missions which form the core of NAP, which represents multi-pronged, long-term and integrated strategies. So the one is National Solar Mission, then the mission on enhanced energy efficiency, the National Mission on Sustainable Habitat, National Water Mission, National Mission on the Sustainable Agriculture, Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change, Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, and National Mission for a Green India. So these are the 8 parameters which the government of India is looking at, and they are continuously working on it. One of the important parameter of urban area is urban transportation. Herein I have put up a picture wherein you can see the mode of vehicles or the mode of transport which was being used in 1994. There is a significant increase in the usage of four-wheelers, private vehicles, and the two-wheelers, private vehicles, which somehow causes lot of pollution. So we need to shift our private transport mode to public transport mode in order to reduce the use of personal cars. Then the increase in use of electric cars should be there so that CO2 emission could be reduced. Adoption of electrification plus automation plus sharing model of transport should be there. High residential and employment density influence shorter commuter journeys and a reduction in private vehicle. So we should try to accommodate most of the places at one chunk of land, or which we call as the dense development, so that the commutation distance is reduced, which will help us in reducing vehicular pollution. So the urban city planning and design, it should be planned dense, and it should be done in such a way that the urban and transport development, they should be integrated. We should try to make our housing car free. We should try to create piazzas which should have green spaces that will help in reducing the urban heat island in that particular area. We should try to have human scale adoption. Then we should have affordable housing in the city centers. So this is all which we need to cater while we are working on urban city planning and design. So the first thing is the cluster design of the city, which is a selective densification which will result people walking to work and reduce the need of vehicle travel. And then the second one is creating urban green spaces. It is a segment of green foundation. Green spaces offer imaginative and advanced manageable ways of life, improving both the well-being and the prosperity of urban inhabitants. Then the third is Smart City Mission, which is an initiative of Government of India to drive economic growth and improve the quality of life. The focus is on sustainable and inclusive development through harnessing technology. So this is the thing. Now I have put up these pictures wherein you can see the part which is shaded and it has got green cover also. So the temperature of that part is 77-73 degree Fahrenheit in comparison to the area which is marked red, which is an open space. It has got paved, hard paved areas So the temperature over there is 127, 119 in comparison to the green covers. So it is an established fact that we should go for green covers. We should try to plant more and more trees because the shade of the tree, it helps in reducing the temperature by 4 to 5 degrees centigrade. So this is a research which is established. So as a citizen of India, we should try to plant more and more trees. Similarly, in the second picture, again you can see there are two places. One is red and the other is blue. The blue one is covered with green covers. It has got trees near to it. It has the pavement is covered with again plantation. So here on also you can see how the radiations, they are reflected back and they are not absorbed by the building block or by the surrounding areas. So this area tends to be more cooler in comparison to the red one, which does not have any cover. So this is very simple thing which we can do in our houses also. We should plant more and more trees. Trees can be planted in your in pots. You can plant them. You can cover your terraces with the gardens in order to reduce the temperature. So this is one of the things which can be done by every common people. So now coming on to the global thing which are being done everywhere. First, as I told you, the first thing is increasing tree cover and green spaces to battle heat island effect. Then second thing is we should create community gardens. Each housing or each area has certain spaces which are available, but left they are leftover spaces. So we need to focus on those leftover spaces and build them green. So these community gardens, they will help increase water retention while encouraging community building and local conservation. Then green rooftops should be there to reduce summer heat, provide winter insulation, and reduce stormwater runoff. Then increasing permeable surfaces and wetlands to increase natural infiltration of rainwater and reduce stormwater runoff is also a important thing. So increasing trees, various cities like Toronto and Montreal, they are working on it. Dresden is building these community gardens. In Chicago, they are creating green rooftop spaces. In China, they are going for these increasing permeable surfaces. So we should also move on to these activities in order to reduce urban heat island, in order to reduce global warming, in order to reduce temperature. So it is time to us to take account of issues relating to building energy efficiency and develop robust policies and standards for constructing sustainable green buildings and infrastructure. On July 2018, the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Singh Puri, while speaking on sustainable development, said that India will have to build 700 to 900 million square meters of urban spaces every year till 2030 to meet its urban demand. All of this brick and mortar will entail increased use of energy in the built space. Thus, one of the key focus area of urbanization boils down to energy use in building. So it's very important for us to take a step towards sustainability. Thank you. Over to Sadaf ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Such a very, ma'am, informative session. Ma'am, if you may allow our attendees have having some questions.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Now, the first question is how the green belt of urban areas can be increased without hindering urban development.
Without hindering urban development. As I told
Yes,
you,
yes.
nowadays there are certain concepts which haven't emerged. I mean, they are being used globally in the developed countries. They are creating urban belts on the periphery of the cities, wherein the plantation is being done. Within the cities also, they are creating vertical gardens. You can cover your vertical walls with the gardens. So it is not that we have to go for urban development at the periphery itself. You can collectively include green environment within the cities also. And there are certain policies which have been taken up by the government, wherein they are trying to stop the urban development on the peripheral areas of the cities.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. The next question is, which kind of approach is suitable in current scenario, making of smart cities or the making of sustainable cities?
The smart cities, they have the concept of sustainable development is being taken up care by the smart city mission also. Smart city mission is also looking on to the sustainable development parameters. They are talking about increasing green covers, they are talking of using permeable surfaces, they are talking about using green spaces. So it's smart city mission is not something which is aloof of sustainable development. It is
Okay.
part of sustainable development.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, now the time for the formal vote of thanks. And ma'am, thank you for taking out time from your busiest schedule, and thank you so much for providing such detailed knowledge about the sustainable urban development. Once again, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So now I can leave, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, ma'am.